I am walking you through these gorgeous milk and honey oatmeal dinner rolls from my new cookbook, the Ambitious Kitchen Cookbook. This is one of my favorite recipes in the cookbook, and if you haven't ordered it yet, you can do so. I'm gonna link it in the description below because these are truly sensational. The best dinner roll you will ever have in your entire life. They remind me of a Parker House roll, which if you've never had those, they're so good and big and fluffy, but I've made them better for you with oats, milk, a little bit of honey, and we've got this gorgeous seed topping that I just can't get enough of. This recipe was one of the hardest recipes to nail in my cookbook. It probably took me 8 or 9 times to perfect the recipe, but once I finally got there, I was truly so proud of myself, and when you try these, you will be too. They're soft, they're fluffy, and they remind me of those Dave Killer Bread buns that I absolutely love and adore. And you can also turn them into burger buns if you'd like. So let's get started and make my milk and honey oatmeal dinner rolls. We are starting out this recipe by mixing together our dry ingredients. Now, I'm actually using a scale for this recipe because I think it is the best way to make sure that your rolls turn out absolutely perfect. So if you have a scale, I highly recommend using it. So we're starting out with some bread flour. My favorite bread flour in the entire world is by King Arthur. This is gonna help to keep the rolls nice and soft and fluffy. It has a higher protein content, so it's gonna make your rolls a little bit chewier. Next up, we are using white whole wheat flour, which is a less dense version of regular whole wheat flour, but still has this nice nuttiness that it gives the rolls. Ooh, fluffy. This is quick rise yeast, and I love using it in recipes because it makes your breads rise a little bit faster, so that's what we're gonna use. Ooh. And then we're gonna do some salt. It is important to add a decent amount of salt to this bread recipe. Salt actually helps yeast to activate, which a lot of people don't know, but it plays a really important role. So I can get these working correctly. We're gonna add 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Give this a whisk. Oops. We're gonna set this aside and measure out some milk. I like using whole milk in this recipe because it has more fat in it, so it's gonna give the rolls a really nice, lovely, fluffy texture. It's gonna keep them soft, so do not skip out on whole milk. I know a lot of us like to use almond milk these days or oat milk, but this really does do all the work. We're gonna microwave this for about 90 seconds until it feels like warm bath water, and then we'll be good to go. All right, just pull this out of the microwave and it feels nice and warm. If it is too hot to the touch, you should not use it. You want it to feel like pretty warm bath water, but anything too hot will kill the yeast. So you can place this on your scale. Don't forget to reset it so that it's at 0. And then we're gonna add our other ingredients in. So we've got 1 cup of oats. Now, technically oats are a dry ingredient, but you wanna add the oats to the milk so that they soften and really melt into that dough when we knead it all together. Resetting this again so I can measure out my honey. Gonna give this a little mix. Now we're just gonna add this to our stand mixer. We're gonna add in some melted butter and 2 eggs. Now the combination of the milk, the honey, the oatmeal, and the eggs really helps to give these rolls just the best, fluffiest texture. You can slather butter on it. Trust me, when these come out of the oven, you guys are gonna wanna make them ASAP, and of course, grab my cookbook. You could do it with the dough hook attachment, but I like to get everything nice and combined with a wooden spoon before adding in the dry ingredients. Now we've got our dry ingredients, which actually contains the yeast. And what's nice about using the quick rise yeast is that you don't need to proof it at all or activate it. It is gonna activate once it hits this warm water. Very simple, no need to do it beforehand. And then we're gonna put our dough hook on and we're gonna knead this for about 8 to 10 minutes. One quick thing, you're gonna wanna do this on low speed. If it's not coming together, you can use your wooden spoon to scrape it down the sides, but I'll show you in a sec. All right, you'll notice it started to come together, and we're gonna just scrape anything on the sides down so that it is well incorporated into the dough, and then you're gonna knead it again. Now, here's the thing I want you to remember when you're mixing up this dough is that it is going to be a fairly sticky dough. Do not be concerned about that. If you have weighed your ingredients properly, it is going to come together beautifully. Trust the process. it is all done eating. And this is what I mean when I say that it's going to be a very sticky dough. It's gonna stick to the sides of the bowl. Don't fret, don't be nervous. It's gonna be all good, just like I promised. Quick little fun tip that I'd like to share. So you can grab a piece of dough and stretch it between 2 fingertips. It has to be a smaller piece than that. And if you can start to see through it, it's called the window pane test. See, but it doesn't break. See that? That's how you know the gluten has properly developed. A little fun tip for you. Cool. Next step in the process is to coat a bowl with some olive oil so that it doesn't stick. And then we're gonna dump all of this mixture in there. I like to take a flexible bench scraper and scrape all of this out. Because it's sticky, it does stick to this, so it's gonna be a little difficult, but a rubber spatula will also do the trick. Then what you're gonna do is just flip it over so that it's well coated in oil, and then you're gonna cover it with plastic wrap. Okay, this is a big bowl. I need 2 pieces. I love making bread. I do.
I love eating bread.
I know, who doesn't love eating bread? Like slather it with some honey butter, warm it up, call it a day. That's all I need in life, really. We also have to put a towel on this, and then I'm gonna share my secret tip for getting your breads to rise a little bit quicker. Be right back. Towel, perfect. Sponsor me. Here is a quick little tip if your house is cold, it's the middle of winter, and you want your breads to rise a little bit faster, or rolls in this case. So you're gonna preheat your oven to the lowest possible setting. Once it's preheated, you can turn it off, and then you're gonna stick your bread or your rolls into the oven, and then you're just gonna allow your bread to rise as it normally would, but your bread is gonna rise a lot quicker, which is just an awesome little tip that if you haven't tried before, I highly recommend. This has been rising for about an hour and a half, so I'm gonna go ahead and check it. Oh, it looks fucking good. Take off the plastic wrap, and how you tell that it is properly risen is that you can stick your finger in, and if it stays and doesn't bounce back, then you know that your dough is good to go. Just in case, I'm gonna add a little flour on my clean surface here, and then I'm gonna dump out the dough. Plop. And what we're gonna do, just kind of fold this over a couple times, and we're gonna pat this into an 8 by 8 inch square. Now, what I like to do is use my husband's tape measure and make sure that everything is properly measured. So I wanna go with 8 by 8 inches just to make sure that my rolls turn out really nice. Oh, too wide, naughty girl. That looks good though. Just a little cushion. Then I'm going to cut this into 3 equal pieces with my bench scraper. Cut these into 3 rectangles. It's okay if it's not perfect. And from there, because we are making 15 rolls, we're gonna cut these into 5 pieces each. Now, if you wanted to make burger buns, you would cut these into 3 pieces because that would only make 9 burger buns. It's up to you, and instructions are in the book, of course. Now I've got my scale here because I want to make sure that these rolls are accurately measured. So each roll should weigh about 66 grams each. All right, this one's at 65. It's okay if they're off by a couple of grams. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna place this on the clean surface, and you're gonna cup your hand like a C, and then you're just gonna go like this and kind of roll them around until they are a perfect little ball. See, look how cute those are. And then you can just place them into your pan, which I need to spray with cooking spray. You could also line it with parchment paper if you want. Just slide those in there, and we're gonna repeat the process. 66, baby. Okay, these are all in the pan and they're looking so beautiful. So now what we're gonna do is let them rise again for about 45 minutes to an hour until they're doubled in size, touching, and nice and puffy, and then we'll bake them. So we're gonna cover these with plastic wrap and a towel, and we'll put them in a warm spot. Bye. While we wait for the rolls to rise again, we are going to make my salted honey butter from the Flavor Bible chapter in my cookbook. One of my favorite chapters because it's all about sauces and dressings and things you can put on anything and everything. And this butter is something I come back to again and again for putting on pancakes, muffins, you name it, it's going on it. So we're gonna add salted butter to a bowl. Plop. Now you have to make sure that this is softened salted butter because you don't want to be mixing this when it's hard, trust me. You could also use a stand mixer for this or a hand mixer, but I'm just gonna use my handy little whisk. Then we're gonna add in some honey. 1, 2, 3. A pinch of flaky sea salt. Now, something I like to do here if I'm making it for pancakes is add a little bit of cinnamon, but because I'm putting it on my dinner rolls, I'm just gonna use it as is. Now you really want to beat this well until it's nice and creamy and soft. But it's going to be spreadable and absolutely delicious. And like I said, anything and everything. Oh, I'm excited. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make my salted honey butter. I hope you get a chance to try this one. It is in my cookbook that is now available for purchase. All right, we'll set this aside until we are ready to put it over our rolls. Oh boy. Oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, they look, I was too excited. They look amazing. Look at that. They're perfectly round and puffy and they're touching. Now we're gonna add an egg wash on here, which is going to help the rolls get nice and golden brown on top and help this little seed and oat and just a glorious mixture of things stick to the rolls. I'm gonna whisk this up. Okay. Nothing exciting there. You're gonna brush this on top. We're not gonna use the whole thing, but just get it nice and coated on top of these buns. Now, when you make these rolls, once they've risen the second time, you really do wanna make sure that they are large and puffy. It can be easy to look at these and think that they're done when they first started to touch, but you want to make sure that they really have risen almost to the brim of your pan, because that's when you're gonna know that they are ready to be baked. In my house, it usually does take about an hour and a half for them to rise all the way. Okay, now we've got this beautiful seed and oat mixture that we're gonna put on top. So this has sesame seeds, flax seeds, some oats. What else do we have in here? Oh, poppy seeds and sunflower seeds. We're gonna sprinkle a little bit on top of these. Now you don't have to do this, but I love the crunch that it adds. It also reminds me of those Dave Killer bread buns that I was telling you about. I'm so excited. I just am. I fucking love bread. It makes me so happy. There's nothing better than a homemade bread roll, if you will. All right, we're gonna bake these for about 20 to 25 minutes until they're nice and golden brown on top and just super fluffy. Let me slide these rolls right in. Oh my God. I am beyond excited for everyone to experience the most beautiful rolls of all time. Can you believe this? What the f? This is the reason you need to buy the cookbook, okay? I don't know about you guys, but I am ready to cut into one of these and enjoy them. I'm picturing that it's Thanksgiving Day. I have made these for my family and my friends, and honestly, it would probably be the star of the show at the table. Oh my God, you guys. This is one of the reasons I absolutely love this recipe, because look at how fluffy these are. Look at this. These are so soft and plushy and puffy and glorious, and I'm so excited for you to have them at home. I have a little bit of honey butter here, which you can put on these. You can serve them on the side. If you don't want to do the seed topping, you could slather these with a little honey butter after. It is really up to you. Oh my God. Everyone needs to come to my house for Thanksgiving. Or you could buy my cookbook and make these at home. Also, hit the subscribe button right now if you don't want to miss out on delicious, nourishing, comforting recipes like this one. We have lots of good stuff coming this season, so subscribe ASAP. I cannot wait to dig into this. I'm gonna pull it open and slather that salted honey butter on it before I get into it. It's one of my favorite things to serve on the side, and guests go absolutely crazy over it. Yum. Make a little sandwich. That's how I like to do it. And then here we go. Oh my God, I'm in heaven. They're nutty. They've got this delicious flavor from the oats and that white whole wheat flour, the crunch of the seeds on top, that salted honey butter in the middle. Oh my gosh. If these do not put you in a good mood, I don't know what will. Cheers. I love bread. I'm so good, you guys.